You're listening to World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world. And here are your hosts, Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.
Unveiling the unity of earth, heart, and breath. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, a profound realization awaits us. As we journey through life, we often forget the profound connection that exists between the earth beneath our feet, the rhythm of our own beating hearts, and a simple act of breath that sustains us. But what if I told you that these three seemingly separate entities are in fact intricately connected, intertwined, each resonating with a shared frequency? Welcome to a transformative journey of discovery, where Aingeal Rose and I unveil the profound truth that lies hidden within the unity of earth, heart, and breath. Have a listen, but please bear in mind that this recording was a private discussion between us after a deep meditation that focused on our earthly existence. It was not intended to be published. However, it has become our divine duty to share all our revelations to help with earth and human ascension to the best of our ability.
The Bible, they talk about the bread of life. And we know it is an example. So when they talk about the bread of life, they're not physically talking about bread per se. But in a way they are, because bread is that soul sustenance, that soul substance that throughout history, throughout religions, throughout cultures, throughout everything is symbolic of life on earth. Which is the reason why they're now genetically modifying wheat, the very bread that gives us life. Now, bread, changing just that D to a TH is breath. Same word, same sound. It's what gives us life here. Bread, breath. Without the bread of life, we wouldn't be alive. Without breath of life, we wouldn't be alive. So there's another huge realization. And it's the reason why our skies are being sprayed, so that we can't take that breath. It's the reason why our wheats, our oats, and our barleys, crops are being genetically modified and sprayed, so that we can't take that breath, so that we can't come into the realization that that breath is what brings the knowledge into the heart, so that we can't ascend. The breath, I've heard it said before, is the nearest connector we have to spirit, insofar as we breathe and we're here, and we don't breathe and we're in spirit. So it's the breath that keeps us in this reality. That was what I had heard, and that was my understanding, and there appears to be a lot of truth around that. But in that last meditation and that breathing session, I got so much more. I got that we only breathe here. This is the only place that we breathe. This is the only planet, only universe, only existence, only reality where we breathe. And what the breath does is the breath comes in to surround the heart. That's why the lungs are around the heart, because it's trying to ground the beat of the heart into the earth. And even if you look at the spelling of the two names, earth is E-A-R-T-H and heart is H-E-A-R-T. The H has just been moved to the beginning. So the heart is the earth is the heart, and the rhythm of the breath keeps us in the reality of the heart earth. That's all it does, because once you stop breathing, you're no longer on the earth. Once you stop breathing, the heart stops and the earth stops. And the reason is because the beat of the heart the rhythm of the heart, the pulse of the heart, is the rhythm of the earth. It's the same thing. It's one and the same thing. It's why we're able to exist here. That rhythm of the heart is in tune with the rhythm of the earth. But more importantly, that same rhythm is actually the rhythm, it's the frequency of the light that we have in us that creates our reality right now. So when we increase our frequency, the frequency of light increases. Therefore, our existence on earth is no more. We don't need to breathe anymore. So the heart frequency and the earth's frequency is actually a low frequency of density that breathing gets us in touch with. And when we stop breathing, we no longer are at that frequency, and we are no longer in that density. So to become aware of our existence here on earth consciously, it's a matter of getting in touch with the rhythm of the breath and the rhythm of the heart, which is the rhythm of the earth, which is a frequency of light. And then consciously increasing that so we no longer are in suffering or pain or the death consciousness.
So you're saying that the rhythm of the earth is a rhythm of pain and suffering. Is that what you're saying?
It's a rhythm of a low, dense reality. It's why people have heart attacks. It's why people suffer emotional pain. It's why we feel stuff in our heart. When we feel it in our heart, we're feeling what the earth feels. Our hearts and the earth is the same thing.
Right, and I do know that your heartbeat is tuned to the heartbeat of the earth.
It's not only tuned, it is the same thing. We are the feeling capacity of the earth. We are the expression of the earth in a heart that pulses.
So are you saying we can't ever change?
Oh, we
So what's our purpose then? Just to be an effect of the earth? Can't we affect the earth too?
We do. Our heartbeat is the earth's heartbeat. So it's not us trying to affect it. It is the same thing. So when we damage the earth, we're damaging ourselves. It's like when we create these artificial crops and poison the soil, we're damaging not only the earth, we're at the same time damaging ourselves. We can't do one without, when we hurt ourselves, we're hurting the earth. It is one and the same thing. And when we kill ourselves, we kill the earth, but we kill our sense of existence at this density level. And when we die, what we're doing is we're choosing to stop breathing. So therefore the reality of the heart and the reality of the earth is no more. And we move into another plane of existence where the frequency of light is higher and the pulse is higher. So the frequency, like the radio, doesn't know that the earth exists at that new level. And we can do that consciously by focusing on the frequency of the heart and raising it. It's why God consciousness or cosmic consciousness has no concerns for the level of the earth. They're at a different frequency. What our breath is doing is, it's a key. All it's doing is it's bringing in air of the earth into our heart. That's why the lungs surround the heart. It's bringing it into the heart to synchronize the pulse. It's bringing in the oxygen of the earth into the heart so the heart can pulse and pump that blood around to keep us in this plane of existence. stopping breathing, or taking in light from the sun, or taking in light from the cosmos, or taking in light from somewhere else, actually negates the necessity to breathe. And certainly negates the necessity to consume.
Then you wouldn't be here anymore.
You could be, consciously.
Stop breathing.
Though you could be, like the stories of Saint Germain and all these guys who didn't need to eat.
They didn't eat, but they still breathed.
But they could come and go supposedly at will. So this is what we have forgotten. It's what I looked for in that meditation. What was the miracle that I looked for? Is to know how to come and go at will. And that's the God connection. To choose at will where to be in existence, where to be in reality, where to be in flesh, where to be in conscious awareness. And it starts with the breath. It's why all the yoga teachings talk about the breath. Every single discipline of yoga all talks about the breath. Becoming aware of the breath. Why? Because it puts you into the moment. It puts you on the in-breath into the moment, and on the out-breath, like breathing in joy. And what we're actually doing is we're breathing in awareness into the heart chamber so that we become aware of that pulse, which actually is a rhythm, which is a frequency, which is exactly the same as the earth. And why it puts us in the here and now is because it puts us in the now, on the earth, in our physical existence, and realizes that this is what we've chosen, to be in awareness on a planet. And then we can't stay there. The reason is because the breath is necessary to maintain that existence in that reality. So you breathe out and then you breathe in again. All the time coming back into the heart to try and get at that pulse, to live in that pulse. And all pulse is, it's a frequency. If you look at a pulse rate on a hospital monitor, all it is a frequency going up and down, bump, 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 up and down. And that frequency is a frequency of light. And it's a very low frequency, which is why it's in the material.
Well, it matches.
It matches. It matches a density. Breathing actually keeps us there. Breathing keeps us on the earth.
Is that a bad thing?
It's a choice. When we decide to stop breathing, the heart stops breathing in the same rhythm as the earth.
Right.
Which means that density is no longer in conscious awareness.
Right, that makes sense.
Heart and earth are the same thing.
So it's a relationship as well.
The relationship. It's a level of awareness.
Okay. So can people only be as happy as the heartbeat of the earth? Or as healthy as the heartbeat of the earth? Or can a person shift their frequency and affect the heartbeat of the earth? In other words, can you raise up the earth by your own consciousness, or are we subject to the earth itself?
I think it's a combination of both. When we're here, we are subject to the earth rhythms. In some ways, it's like a symbiotic relationship. Because the heart is in tune with the earth rhythm, if the earth level of happiness or awareness is low, then our heart level of awareness and happiness and joy is low. And that seems to be the situation that's here right now. So when people talk about the mass consciousness of awakening, really what it's about is the frequency of the heart stroke earth increasing, so that people become aware of more joy and more success, more happiness, more prosperity, more abundance, more connection with source. And all that's happening is more light is coming into the physical. Now, that might seem to be a goal in and of itself, but what I'm seeing is that no, that's only one level of awareness. That as more light comes in, if we could get more light into our bodies, into our hearts, we would be bringing more light into the earth, therefore ascending the body and ascending the earth at the same time. So yes, we can affect the earth, and in a way it's like one drop in the ocean, I suppose, can only affect so much, but because it's holographic, then yes, it can affect everything in initially a small way. So everybody's consciousness is important to raise up to a new frequency. And I know those words are overplayed, but it's a new understanding of what frequency is. We look at the heartbeat on a monitor as a sine wave, which is one way for the Western mind to accept its reality. But then as that sine wave increases, or as its rhythm changes, then new realities become possible. And the new reality that I'm talking about is it opens a capacity for more joy because there's more connection with Source, but also it's lighter because more light is coming in and more lightness is driving the sine wave. And if we make the assumption that God is light, you're actually living more in tune with the frequency of God than the frequency of earth or heart. So in another way, what I'm saying is people talk about opening your heart and living in your heart, but the frequency of our hearts is very, very low. It has to be because it's dense and doesn't feel joy. So we can make a conscious choice by perhaps physically getting more light into us, perhaps in some way, one way or another, maybe through colors or color therapy or sun gazing or whatever, but getting more light into our bodies, into our heart, into the rhythm of the heart will bring more light into the earth, which will help us make realizations around our existence here. And the struggle will cease. Now, I don't know physically what would happen, whether the heartbeat would increase, whether it would decrease, whether the heart would stop altogether. Well, actually, yes, it would, because the physical body would no longer be needed. We would become a light body, and the light body doesn't have a heart. It has a rhythm. It has a pulse. It has a light frequency. So consuming stops, greed stops, earth stops, the physical body stops, death stops, the cycle of reincarnation stops, karma stops, all the nonsense stops, and we are in ascension.
Positive out of the chaos for the evil.
It's what I think our realization has to move to, is to move toward living off light, move to surviving without food. Because, put it this way, you see all the threats that are around and against us at every twist and turn. It's all about survival. But if you could live without food and without consuming anything, what fear would you have? I mean, they go hand in hand, the losing of the fear and the acceptance of an immortality.
Well, you'd have to be at the consciousness too,
But this is my point.
Where you purify each breath just by your consciousness.
It would all happen together, in a sense.
Then on the other hand, your consciousness could change the quality of food as well.
It could if you wanted to continue to consume. But my guess is that at that level of consciousness, the pleasure of eating or the need for eating would be gone. So your body would physically change and move towards a body of light. And that's what I was saying earlier about the rhythm, the pulse of the body would change to become a pulse of light instead of a rhythm of a heartbeat or a rhythm of breath in and out or the rhythm of the need to eat every so many hours.
Right.
This is essential.
That's all designed just to keep the physical body.
Yeah, but breath is designed to keep the physical body here. The heart, as we know it, is designed to keep the physical body here. Bread and food is designed to keep the physical body here. all designed to keep the physical body here. And the whole ascension is the frequency increase that releases the breath, releases the heart, releases the food of bread, and releases the earth, and changes into a whole new vibration altogether. So the overcoming of these threats and problems that we face is not to fight it on the level of the fight, is not to protest on the streets. It's actually for us to change our own rhythm. It's for us to live off light. It's for us to move into that ascension mode. It's for us to be conscious of what the breath is actually doing. It's for us to become conscious of our relationship with the earth in terms of the pulse. And that pulse, I imagine, if we were to look at the pulse of the earth like we do the pulse of our heart on a monitor, it's almost flatlining. It's in emergency. It's like saying, I can't handle this anymore. My body's tired. My vital signs are critical. So what would revive a person in those conditions? A miracle. And what's a miracle? It's only a realization. It's a God realization. It's an influx of light. And that can be external, like we talk about light coming from the sun or light coming from the cosmos, or it can be internal.
Well, that's why when somebody's a true mystic, they get to the point where they hardly eat at all.
Makes sense.
That little film we saw of that yogi boy was in meditation all day long.
Makes sense.
He didn't eat or drink anything because
There was no need to.
you're at a different frequency altogether.
Yeah.
But he's still breathing. He's still living.
But that's a choice too. And perhaps the reason he disappeared is because he
He could have just gone to light.
could have just gone into light.
Areas to donate their consciousness to this level. You know, I think that's what all those avatars do when they come here. Or anybody who reaches that sort of awareness or consciousness, they make the choice on if they're going to stay and contribute that energy to humanity or if they're going to go.
Yes.
That's what they're doing here. They're basically trying to help raise people out of the suffering, you see.
Yeah.
But it's the thing that if you don't individually raise your frequency, then you are in effect of everything that's going on the earth.
That's right.
That's why you still suffer. That's why you still get sick. Because if that's the consciousness of the planet and you don't do anything to purify yourself.
That's right.
You stay there with everybody. And it goes round and round and round again. And that's the wheel of karma.
That's the wheel of karma, and that's reincarnation.
Yeah, that's right.
Reincarnation is ignorance. Reincarnation is a lack of awareness. Reincarnation is because we haven't grasped or we've forgotten our frequency.
Well, you see how people get addicted to sensual experiences here, though, you see? That's that whole last chapter of the book when God's talking about making the choice to go home. It's making the choice to stop living at this level.
Yes.
Of sensual experiences. Because that's what keeps people in it.
Yeah.
Now, people are addicted to the pleasure pain thing.
Yes.
So as long as that's the case, they're not going to make a choice to let go of that, or
That's right.
they're not going to say, I'm done with it.
That's right. But, taking that point and going full circle, it's the same addiction that's there to breath and bread. In other words, the brain is tuned to take the next breath, whether you like it or not. Because it's an addiction. You have to, you must, you're compelled to. You have no choice. And the same is true of bread. you get hungry after a few hours and you decide, I'm not going to eat today and I won't eat tomorrow. But what happens is there's a compulsion, an addiction comes in. Yeah, and I'm talking more about the compulsion side of it. I'm talking more about the necessity side of it rather than being addicted to chocolate or being addicted to alcohol.
Well, it's true, because as long as you're at that level of consciousness, though, you have to eat or you will die,
Yeah,
because that's the level of consciousness.
that's right. That's right. But reincarnation is exactly the same thing. It's like you've died, you've gone to a new level, but the addiction is so strong that it says, I want more of that.
I'm not done experiencing.
I'm not done. Yeah, my compulsion is such that I have to have more of it.
That's right.
I'm not finished.
Right. And there are people who are born pretty enlightened to that, but they're here to try to raise the whole thing up. They don't get stuck in it. That's the thing. Because the earth is so heavy.
Yeah.
The consciousness is so dense still that that's where they get trapped in it, you see? Or they get caught in the sensual experiences, and that's when they want more.
Mm.
I want more of that, just like you say.
Yeah. I want more.
But then there is no judgment in it still. I mean, with Source basically says have at it. You want to experience that indefinitely, you can. Go ahead, have a ball, experience everything. Positive and negative, good and bad. Experience it all till you don't want to anymore. So we have to be careful that we don't judge all this when we're talking about this, because that's another trap.
I agree with that, but it's also helping to arrive at the choice to say, judgment or no judgment, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, you're right, but it has to come out of a natural desire.
It has to come out of a natural frequency, growth in awareness.
Absolutely. That's why the people who are breatharians and who are at that place, hopefully they arrived at it naturally, not out of a judgment about eating. You gotta be careful there.
It's why birth is the same word, but especially from the point of view of the sovereignty people, when they talk about birth meaning B-E-R-T-H.
Yeah.
When they talk about that kind of birth in that light, it means we have chosen to be birthed here on the earth. And it is why the whole power and control issue surrounds that whole business of birth and birth certificate. That's why. Because you're choosing to be grounded into a controlled environment on the earth. And you're accepting it. And this is the problem, that we've had people obeying and accepting. So what this is all driving towards is actually an ascension of the mind, body, and spirit to freedom. Freedom on all levels.
As we conclude our journey of revelation, let us pause and reflect upon the profound meaning that lies at the heart of our existence. We're witnessing a great transition, both for our beloved earth and for humanity itself. We are ascending. We're transcending also the limitations of our current state of being and embracing a future where we become bodies of light, interconnected with the cosmos. In this journey, we realize that our lives, driven by the addiction to pain and pleasure, are mere illusions that hinder our true understanding. Reincarnation, too, reveals itself as a product of our ignorance, keeping us trapped in a cycle of birth and death. But as we awaken to our own frequency, we unlock the door to liberation and embrace the profound purpose of our existence, to become enlightened beings, transcend suffering, and embody the oneness that connects us all. May this realization guide us towards a future of love, compassion, and harmony.
Please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and on our website at worldofempowerment.com.
Don't miss an episode. Hit the subscribe button now.